So, people have asked about how I made fortifications for our Assyrian game, our City Assault Rules game. So I've posted some pictures of the siege engines as well, but you're going to see a little video now on specifically ask for what materials we used. Remember, you've got to keep it light, so most of the materials for this were foam board. There's some MDF used and bits of balsa. As you can see, it comes in sections, so it's pegged. The sections are pegged together. There's a rendering on the outside to give it a bit of a realistic finish, to make it look like some kind of mud brick or sand or whatever. It's 5mm foam board mostly. You can also get foam board in 10mm. You can get it from hobby shops, but it's quite expensive. I think you're better off getting it from architectural modelling supplies. I found that they were a little bit cheaper. But it doesn't matter. Obviously, it's practically, it's all the same stuff. Excuse the small table, we're just doing a small section. It's not the entire fortification. If you look at the pictures on the ancient medieval wargamer, historical wargamer, or ancient wargamer, or ancient war games, I think, all those photographs are on there. There are also plans on the ancient and medieval wargamer on how the siege engines were made. We'll be taking pictures and doing plans for this as well, maybe on this video at the end. The towers then, I made in all at the moment 4 towers. The fortification's made so that it sits on the edge of a table and it backs off slightly to the edge. It's not just one wall. There's 3 walls, well, 3 frontages basically. So the basic tower then, these are the 2 towers that go at the gate. They're the gate towers. What you need to do is make sure that before you render it, you've marked out where the wall is actually going to fit into place. So you cut holes for your pegs, and the pegs are made of balsa, and it all pegs together. You can do it universally. It can be done universally, but mostly they tend to. So you can use different walls for the towers, but mostly they fit together in a sequence that fits a lot easier. So that's how we peg that together, like so. So that's our main gateway. The MDF is used for the platforms inside the tower. So you can put a unit inside if you want to, or you can sit it on the top. We normally sit them on the top and say that there's a unit in that tower. We say each tower can take a whole unit, including the large towers. I'll show you one of those in a moment. So inside, you can see it's bolstered. That's a 10mm piece of MDF there to help it. You could just as easily have used balsa if you wanted to, but it all helps to make it a lot stronger. The glues used are PVA. Try not to water your PVA down and make it go further. Just bite the bullet and buy a great big tub of it. It'll last you ages. You'll probably never use it all. The best one you can get is good, proper builder's one, not the hobby one. They're not strong enough. The rendering then. So if you noticed, I've made sure that I've drawn where the wall's going to fit against the tower, and we haven't put any rendering on that. It's just bare foam board. It's made of PVA and sand. What mixture you decide to use in what quantities is entirely up to you. I just done it to try and give it a bit of texture and to represent some sort of sand, mud brick or whatever. It was then sprayed. Everything was been sprayed with Zandri dust, Games Workshop, straight out of the can. It's then given small patches of, I think it's Seraphim Sepia, I can't remember, I think it is, over the top here and there, and then dry brushed with a base, light base sand colour. I think that was a foundry paint. I think, I can't remember. But you can use whatever you want, it's entirely up to you. So that's the basic gatehouse then. As you can see, everything slots together via pegs. It's easily transportable, it's very lightweight. Moving on. Okay then, the main gate. This is MDF. I've scoured the main planking in with a compass or an awl. The bolsters that give it a bit of extra. This is balsa, and the brass studs are children's split beads. You have to buy a big bag full. It's just too bad. You know, it's just one of those things. The bricks on the outside, they're dental plaster. I got them from a guy in Portsmouth, Great Northern Roads. He cast them for World War II dioramas, I think. Okay, again, you can see it's 10mm foam board to support on the inside. You'll see that on another wall in a moment. And we're using 5mm because we need the width of the crenellation at the top to be a lot thinner. So we use 5mm for the skins. Again, balsa studs. What tower are we on? While we've got hold of this, we're talking about the towers as well. When you cut the corners for your towers, you need to cut them at a 45-degree angle and make sure they meet at where the crenellation, the pointed crenellation is interrupted. Don't abut them one end to the other because you'll get an uneven shape. It will be flush on one side and it will be pointed on the other. You don't want that. They would not have made them that way. So you get this corner here. It looks stronger. That's the way they would have been built. The gate opens because we need to move troops through it in the game. Opens inwards. The hinges, I think I got them in the Doll's House shop, but you can get them, little electrical shops sell tiny hinges as well. But I think they were Doll's House shop, so I put a piece of MDF on the inside of the gate wall. Don't worry about making this very detailed, you're never going to see it really. And I've glued them in or made sure they're really secure without using nails, because nails not really going to hold in foam board. There's nothing to purchase once the nail's through the skin. So I've glued that on, and then over the top I've put liquid weld, which is the best one is made by Worth. That's a German company, but you can get a lot cheaper versions, and it's just as good. It does the job. So you just cemented those hinges on and it opens out. Make your gatehouse or your gate wall wide enough that you can fit a unit in column in or one of your heaviest pieces. So our 4-horse chariot needs to fit through, or if we've got a unit of infantry, they can fit through in column, like so. Moving on. Right, so one of the main walls, exactly the same construction. You've got the pegs at each end. So all the walls have pegs, and all the towers have the holes to take the pegs. Again, you can see, don't put the render in where the wall joins the tower. You actually draw with your pencil, and if you see some, I've put where this tower is, you know, where it goes. So there's some instructions as you're building it a bit easier. Notice we've got all the doors. I like the windows cut on the inside, and so you got an enfilade effect down the walls. I think they would have done that, so somebody can shoot down here if there's people right up against the wall. Fits together. You can see we can't put all of this on this table. It's just not big enough, the table. And we got the corner towers, which are almost twice as big as the gate towers. I'll do that in a minute. Again, you got your 10mm MDF as bolsters and ends, and it's skinned with 5mm. I've left all the rendering off of all the surfaces where we're going to put figures. These are all smooth, so we leave those smooth. So we can fit 2 units on the big walls, and we can fit 1 unit on the gate wall. Okay, so there's a corner tower. Exactly the same principle. Make sure you've got access doors as well on your towers. These are your means with which you get to the walls through the towers. Otherwise you're going to have to build lots of staircases on the insides of the walls, which takes up room, and you probably don't want to do that if you're thinking about gaming on the inside. Depending on what rules you want to use for winning or losing the game, we've not completely decided yet. We're thinking along the lines of maybe once you're in, it's over, but that wasn't always the case. So we've got, you know, an entrance door here. Everything, obviously, it's all done at the planning stage. You must plan well, draw your plans properly. So there's 2 of these at the moment. We've got the same on the other end, and then we build one of these length walls backwards against the table. Same principle. We can lift off, we can put people on the inside if we want to. So you get an idea of the dimensions that this thing is. It's quite an impressive looking game. Now, why have I put a little hole in this wall? Well, because that fits rather realistically for one of our siege engines. This is our wrecking tower. So that fits that reasonably well. So it looks like we're knocking it down. This has got wheels. The main siege tower has wheels. The battering ram doesn't. Okay, let's just move that away. We can show you the battering ram. This is, again, all these engines are taken from the bas reliefs at the British Museum. I've seen them in books as well. This actually moves. The guy that made this, his name's David Maracchino, an Italian gentleman. He lives in Valencia in Spain. He makes his own figures as well, but it's possibly a snake, this, in the bas reliefs, but I've used a crocodile head. This is your battering ram. This is what we use for the main gate down here. It has a crew. The crew are foundry figures again. They are slingers, and I've cut the slings off and bent the arms in different positions slightly so that they can crew. There's a magnet on the end, you've got to avoid that. There we go. So they fit in there. I don't think we pay any points for the crew. It's just the matter of the points you pay for are for the engines. They have what we call an integrity, which is a certain amount of points, what a unit would consider wounds. And once you've used them up, they're normally destroyed by fire, obviously. So those are that's that engine. We're bringing the assault tower now. So another one, it's got wheels, it works. Ooh. Now I've cunningly made this in the rules, so I normally put my mate who's actually filming this, I normally put in defending, because I nearly always win. I've put this platform so that when it sits down there's a slight slope. It comes down slightly. That gives me the +1 to hit advantage when I'm charging in because I'm going downhill. Well, that's my excuse anyway. So these are, I think these are Elamites. You stick these on. You can get 2 units on these walls. So you've got one fighting, one in support. basically. Just give it a few. Both the engines, this and the wrecking tower, you can man them with a half unit of archers, slingers if you want. And again, your unit needs to be able to fit into the tower in column. So that's basically, I think the rules say once the move gets you in, you can attack. Once you're in, you can attack. Basically, you're only allowed, I think, up and 2 units in the tower at a time. If a tower's destroyed and there's anybody left in it, when it's lost its integrity, everyone still in the tower has perished, unfortunately. Right, let's show you how we simulate the wrecking of a wall. Moving on. Right, so how do we simulate the wall being wrecked by the wrecking tower and being breached? So we take this away. It's all easily done. Remember, if there's anybody on top of this wall when it gets wrecked, they're gone. So get your people off before it's about to go. It's a good idea. And we end up with this. So how have I done that? Well, obvious really. It was probably the longest part of the model to build, because we needed to show some kind of an interior structure to the walls. So I decided that we'd put the stuff we've used for the gate as an interior, where the mud brick, plaster, sand brick or whatever was put over the top. We've got a wooden sort of a structure underneath, sort of. So we've put more of this mud, if you want, as a surface on the top, over the top of the wood. So there's all sorts of debris, so you can get all, just modelling gravel and what have you, and bits of these stones broken off in amongst the rubble. What is it? Well, what I've done is basically use this stuff, which is like some furniture upholster, I think. I've used that so that we can just put this, cover it with PVA, put all your rendering on the top, your stones, your little bits of the wall that will be amongst it as well, some wood from the underneath the platform at the top, and just coat it on the top, on the inside, because that's all you're going to see. You can see where the structure's just crumbled away at the top there. You can see how if anybody was still stuck on that wall, they'd be a goner, unfortunately. So a bit time consuming, but worth the effort. It beats, I think, other rules just take the wall away and then a wall just magically disappears. Well, I didn't like that. But anyway, as you can see, they've managed to get off in time. So you'd just stick it together like so, and then you enter that phase of the game where a unit, you've got enough room here again for a unit in column. If we were using these, you can see they can fit through over the top of the rubble. I think you pay a movement penalty for rough terrain, and if you charge in with cavalry, I think if you charge, the horses have to take a wound, they have to roll for wounding. So the cavalry can only move through a normal sort of a walking pace. Moving on. So just an idea of what it looks like. Obviously it's only just under half the size of what the whole thing is. But when the full game's set up, it's quite impressive. But it's just to give everyone an idea how things were made. It's actually quite easy to do. It's just time consuming, that's all. That's all. Obviously the wrecking tower's moved out of the way once the wall's wrecked, and we get into the fortification. I based it on what I thought maybe Susa would look like. I think the massive enemy of the Assyrians were the Elamites. So obviously the army's a lot bigger than what you see. And what you're looking at is all part of my Assyrian army. But that's it. That's how it was done. I hope it's answered a few questions. And by all means, take on a big project. It's well worth it. It was a real pleasure to do it. And still ongoing. They all are, aren't they? They never really finish. Time for a beer, I think, and do the next video.